we have light issues, light problems. That light is burned out, or not burned out, but it just doesn't work, doesn't come on. This light doesn't come on. This light does. And all three of these are wired to the same circuit. So you turn the switch on and you only get one of the three. And so it's always kind of dim in here. Now, I've gone through, I think you've seen some of the other videos where I've replaced these with LEDs, those with LEDs, and I've been wanting to replace these ceiling lights with LEDs for a while anyway, partly because LEDs just use less power, and someday I want to upgrade to solar, and minimizing the amount of power I use is going to help me in the solar/battery world. So I've been wanting to update these. Now I tried at first to take one of these lights down and to modify it, which I successfully did by cutting out the ballast. There's some videos you'll see online, and basically taking LED string lights and putting them in there and connecting them to the power, because this is all 12 volt. And it works, but it just wasn't bright enough. So I found a company online, and we installed here in the bedroom this light, which is way, way better. And this is on 25%. Check this out. Here's 50, 75, 100. I mean, that's a blinding light. But hey, if you're looking for something you lost on the floor, you're going to be able to find it a whole way lot better. We leave it on 25% because that's plenty of light. But I'm going to go through a video real quick and show you how to remove your old fluorescent lights, if you still have them, of RV kind, and install one of these LED lights. It's going to make your life way better. The other thing too is, you can't see in a video, but these are a tiny bit warm. They're not like hot. And make sure, okay, the ceiling's cool. There's a tiny bit of warmth right from these. Let's go to this one just to double check. Yeah, there's a tiny bit of warmth generated from these. The ceiling is cold. This is a little bit warm. But LED lights typically do not do that. This is nice and cold. It's just as cold as the roof. As the roof next to it. Sorry to blind you. So it's also a temperature thing. Not that that's a lot, but figure if all of these lights are on, they're all generating heat. Whereas this light, it's an LED light. This doesn't generate any heat at all. You can touch it all day long. Some of the original lights in this RV were halogen. These little puck lights right here originally were halogen. These are LED, they're not even hot at all. The halogen, it would burn your finger if you touch that. So we wouldn't want that. So we are going to take some lights down, and I'm going to show you how to do it. But there's a fuse for it. All right, let's see here. Ceiling lights front, F5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm just going to try to pull this sucker with my fingers. Safety first, never last. There you go, it's out. So let's go see if the lights went out. We successfully shut off power to these lights, because remember, this light was on. So our lights, we ordered from a place called, pretty sure it was called Leisure Coachworks. And one thing we'll need for this job, Dr. Pepper. I always keep my Dr. Pepper in my cool Yeti thing that Cher got me. All right. So this thing, this is 20 by 6.5 inches, LED slimline touch dim lighter. It's exactly like the one I showed you there in the bedroom. And we do that a lot too. I would say that's a recommendation. When we think we want something, we buy one of them, and then we try it out. And if it works good, then we buy more. So there's nothing worse than buying a whole bunch of them, even at other people's recommendations, and then when you get them, you find out it doesn't work for your RV. There's not a lot to this thing, I'm telling you right now. Instruction manual. Look at this. There's nothing much to these instructions.
Connect light to the power source. Following the wire guide instructions. Turn light on by pressing the power symbol and releasing. Press and release the desired dim settings. That's it. Basically says wire it. That's it. Wire it. Now, there are wiring instructions. I'm trying to remember on the last... Oh, right here. I don't know if you can read that. I don't know if I can get that close enough to read. I don't know if it'll focus if I do. I think I got a picture of it. There we go. Wiring from power source. Can you read that? Black or multicolor wire is positive. White wire is negative. Wiring from the light. So this, black wire is negative. Red wire is positive, right? So here's what's crazy confusing. Up in the ceiling, my black wire is going to be positive. So I'm going to want to connect the ceiling black wire to my red wire, and then the ceiling white wire will connect to this black wire. I don't know why they didn't just color this the same color as the ceiling lights, or as the wiring on the ceiling lights. So this guy comes with a couple of little wire nuts and several screws. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 screws for these 8 holes. I can tell you I did not use all 8 holes in the last one. I'll show you why. Some of that's just unique to our RV. This guy pops off of here. It's on there kind of tight. I'll show you how it pops on. maybe I won't. But there's just some little notches in the plastic cover. There we go. That one's off. Now it's back in. That one's off. That one's off. There we go. What makes it difficult is there's also 2 on these ends, one there, and there's 2 on these. So even if you squeeze it enough to get it to bend, it doesn't want to bend because these are holding on. So anyway, makes it tough to get off. It's not terrible, but then at least when you put it on, you know it's secure. These pop off like I was talking about. You kind of squeeze one end, and then the other comes off. There's a track. There's a track right here that just a thing in it, and it grabs onto the lip either here or here. And so you squeeze it to get it off of there. So we're going to take these light bulbs out. There we go. Be careful with these. You'll see this really does not take very long. Oh. Tell me if any other screws fall out that I should know about. Now let's suck this thing off the roof. Because this light has probably been there since 2006 when this thing was built. So what we're going to do is I'm actually going to cut this wire off. And the reason is because I want to keep this disconnect so that I can easily, if for some reason I ever need to take the light I'm putting up, if I ever need to take it down and disconnect it, maybe it fails or something, I can click and it's disconnected. I don't want to permanently hardwire it because that would just be a pain in the neck. More is better, right? There you go. This guy is done. Now we've got is this. Use my wire strippers. I love these things. If you're doing electrical stuff, Irwin, vice grip. I don't know why they're called vice grips because that's not what I would call a vice grip. Watch this. Try to do it in slow motion. So it grabs. Make sure you can see this. It grabs. I'm going to squeeze. And just like that, look at that. Pull the insulation off. Obviously, I'm going slow motion for you guys, but you know, if you're working on something, you want to be quick. Look at that. Boom. Done. Obviously, you want to be careful when you're flipping this thing over. All right. Got these guys. They pre-strip these for you, so you just pull that off. Pull that off. Do you remember what this thing said? Black is positive on this guy, and red is positive on this guy. So we're going to connect the black to the red. Seems weird. We're going to do what it says. Twist this on there. I get pretty crazy with these. I want these things to be super tight. I may come back later. I could do it now, but I may come back later and actually put like a connector or solder them and then heat shrink them. Some people don't like wire nuts in RVs. All the bouncing around and over the years, is it going to fall off or shake off? Theoretically, this guy's all wired up and ready to go. See, that didn't take very long. All right, before we mount it though, let's do a test run. So we're gonna plug this guy in and I'm gonna let it hang here, and I'm gonna go put our fuse back into the fuse panel. The fuse is on. The light is hanging here. I'm gonna give you front row seat. So I'm gonna go turn the light on and let's see what happens. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. Nothing happened. That might be okay. I'm gonna be careful what I touch. This is 12 volts, so it's not crazy, but let's go power button. Woohoo! Look at that! Power button, 25, 50, 75, 100. Woo! That sucker is bright. All right, let me go turn the switch back off. And honestly, I probably could do all this job just with the light switch. Back there, I've got the buttons facing forward. So I want the buttons facing forward on these and on all of those just to keep some uniformity. So you always know if you're looking for the button, at least the button on the light itself, you know it's up forward. All right, so the only thing too, one other thing is that you may notice that this is a little bit shorter than the other one. I don't know if you can see it in the video, but there's a tiny bit of a curved line here, tiny bit of a curved line here from that previous light fixture. And we're hoping that maybe in time, this padding will relax. My guess is that it won't, because it's been like that for X amount of years, and it's probably not gonna relax. So all I do is really just kind of eyeball it. I don't know if you can see in this as well too. I'll just point to it and I'll pull the camera up here so you can see it. The holes on this are honestly just inside this thing. So I'm gonna have to do the screws at an angle. And your arms get really tired doing this, but let me pick you up and show you what I'm talking about. See how that left screw and that right screw are not in the padding area, they're in the open area of this void for the light fixture stuff. So I'm just gonna have to put them at a little bit of an angle to get them secure into place. That's what I had to do with the light back there. So I'm doing my best to get it centered, get it straight. And so one thing you can do is you can find something like this trim piece and you can try to measure your distance from each side. This is the hardest. Oh no, I just moved it. So this is the hardest part. One is your arms get tired of being straight up in the air. Two, it's hard to get that very first screw started. So let's see if I can do some ninja drill magic. Okay, let's just go left to right now. Kind of eyeball the middle and we'll leave it loose enough that we can adjust. So this is where I'm talking about. I gotta go at an angle. Get through the insulation until there we go. Until I touch metal, which I just did. Okay, and these are self-tapping screws. You see the head on that thing? You want a self-tapping screw because the chances that you're gonna drill exactly in the same part of the metal that the last screw was in, well, especially for these lights, is none because these are spaced a little more. Let me see here, I got my tape measure. I left that loose so that I can still swivel it. So it's left to right, it's where it's going. But getting it as parallel to this as possible, I can still do with my handy dandy tape measure. Honestly, you just kind of go right here. What is this at? This is at 3 3/4. So I'm going to take this and pull it down to 3 3/4, and that's about right there. Oop. About 3 3/4. About 3 3/4. About 3 3/4. Yep. So that's where she needs to go. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a screw here, and a screw here, and a screw there, and that's going to be plenty to hold this thing on. One, it doesn't weigh anything, and two, it doesn't weigh anything. I mean, look at the size of these screws and this light that weighs less than the light we took out. Again, the hardest thing is getting that angle going.
There it goes. You don't want to over tighten these boogers. You just want to snug it up. There you go. You can always tighten it a little bit more at the end if you want. So these two, and then this one. Also keep in mind, I am using the screws that came out. I am not using the screws that they sent. Here are the screws that came in the package. All right, so I'm using these. Again, that has to do with the insulation, the thickness of this thing. I'm not sure that these screws would reach it. This is a screw that came with it. This is not a self-tapping screw. This thing would spin and spin and spin and spin all day long before it'd get into that metal. This one has a self-tapper, so that helps it get into the metal and through. All right, one more screw. We'll pop the cover on this one and we'll pop it on. Actually, I should test it one more time before I pop the cover on. These do stay on. Once you have, oh my goodness. Once you have this on, you can turn it on and off with a switch. See, I'll show you. Here goes the switch. And then I'm gonna put this bad boy, try to keep all my fingerprints off. And just kind of smash it in there. So that helps diffuse the light a little bit. And I don't know if you can tell, you can still see the dots of each of the little LEDs. It is way better than it was. So I'm gonna do the other two. Okay, whew. We got that all done. Starting getting a little warm. But we got it all done. It took 23 minutes. So about 11 or 12 minutes for each one. Let's do the grand reveal. On 3, 2, 1. Shazam. That's such a huge difference. Do it again. Do it again, David. Do it again. It's so cool. Ah, is that not cool? I think that's cool. So hey guys, I don't have a big wrap up thing. I need to come up with some kind of catchy phrase or saying, right? Safety first, never last, have a future, not a past. That's my motto. What's the motto with you? This is David, the RV Shepherd. We offer certified RV inspections for new and used RVs before you buy, so that when you buy, you can buy with confidence. Cher and I wish you well and hope you have a happy and safe journey in your RV life. And we offer and wish blessings upon all of you. Take care. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye. What I don't like, I mean, I guess it's good for securing. Oh, did I just break it? No, I didn't. They're 12 volt. They don't go through the AC breaker. Fuse. We don't gotta. What was that? Did 2 screws fall out? Here's a screw. But something else fell over here. Like me looking down at you? Hello. And don't forget, guys, one of the most important things you can do is clean up after your project. Your wife will love you. She will think you're the greatest. And if you don't know how to operate a vacuum cleaner, oh, just ask your wife. She'll tell you how. Get it, Doc. You need some help getting your ball? I'm sorry. Watch out. Watch out. Watch out. Move, move. I'll get it for you. Oh, I see it. I see. Oh. 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 Can you sit? Show me you sit. Good girl. You ready? I didn't throw it yet.